Shocking secrets revealed at my dad's will reading, why my stepmom tried to cut me out forever. The room was ice cold, despite the summer heat outside, as everyone gathered for the will reading. Tension hung thick in the air, as though the walls themselves were braced for the secrets that were about to spill. Whispers bounced off the wood-paneled walls, curling around the corners like ghostly fingers. My heart raced. Would I learn the truth or face betrayal from the woman who claimed to care for my dad until the very end? There she sat, my stepmom, maintaining a mask of calm while her fingers drummed nervously on the wooden table. The attorney, a tall man with tight glasses that sat precariously on his nose, rustled the papers in front of him. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, his voice echoing, "today we assemble to hear the last wishes of Robert Lawson." My chest tightened, I could barely breathe. My dad's voice sounded like it echoed in my head. He would have laughed at how serious everything felt. Then, the first strange element. A faded envelope slid out from a hidden compartment of the table, unveiling an unaddressed note, its edges frayed and yellow. The executor's eyes flickered to the stepmom, who flinched like she'd just been struck. What had she done? My mind raced with questions. Everyone leaned in, their faces lit up with curiosity and horror. The tension escalated palpably, like a match striking fire. My stepmom laughed nervously, deflecting the weight of the moment. "It's just formalities," she said with a forced smile, but the nervous twitch in her brow betrayed her. A murmur rippled through the room. I could see another family member, my uncle, watching her with wide eyes, disbelief painted plainly across his face. No one was prepared for this, he muttered under his breath. And just when I thought it couldn't get weirder, the attorney cleared his throat. "It appears your father has included a clause." He paused dramatically, eyes darting between us. "Should he pass, under certain conditions, he intended for you, Emma," he pointed directly at me, "to be cut out of the inheritance." If my heart sank, the weight of those 3 words crushing me. If. I needed to know what came next, what monumental condition my father saw fit to lay bare after his passing. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The silence that followed was deafening. I could feel every eye tracing my reaction. What was my father hiding? This was bigger than money. Bigger than betrayal. It was a secret that could shatter everything I understood about my family. Just as I mustered the courage to ask the question on everyone's lips, the attorney dropped another bomb. He left instructions for a final meeting. My stomach twisted. The room felt like it was spinning. What did that mean? What was the final reckoning he wanted us to face? I had to find out. The truth was out there, waiting, lurking just beyond reach. A chill crept down my spine. The word meeting lingered in the air like smoke from a snuffed-out candle. My pulse thundered in my ears. I could see the sweat beading on my stepmother's forehead, the way her lips tightened as if she were preparing for a blow. It was clear that whatever this meeting entailed, she wasn't ready for it. The attorney adjusted his glasses, eyeing us all intently, as if weighing our reactions. "Your father wanted to make it clear that his decisions were not just about financial gain. This meeting will reveal intentions long kept in the shadows." Every muscle in my body tensed. Intention? Shadows? What on earth was he implying? I leaned forward, almost desperate to pull the layers back and see the truth beneath. What kind of meeting? Who else will be there? The attorney shuffled the papers again before continuing. "Your father named specific people to attend this meeting, the primary beneficiaries of his estate, along with those he's felt he hesitated could challenge his legacy." A murmur swept through the room like a gust of wind, rippling through family members who hadn't let their thoughts spill out. I caught my uncle's gaze again, a mixture of confusion and concern. I could feel everyone's eyes darting between me and my stepmom, as if we were players on a stage, and the script was twisted. Robert had strong feelings about legacy, the attorney continued. He prepared this note for each of you to read at the meeting. Each family member, except for Emma. My lungs ached. I processed the words, trying to make sense of the chaos swirling inside me. I felt like a pawn in a game I didn't even know I was playing. Why not me? I whispered, barely recognizing my own voice. The attorney straightened, his expression softening slightly. He believed there was a vital reason for you not to receive it until all secrets were revealed. A wave of anger surged through me. Secrets? Why were my father's final wishes surrounded by so much intrigue? Everyone around me exchanged secretive glances. I imagined their minds racing, calculating and speculating. Would secrets drive a wedge between us all? A loud clap of thunder echoed from outside, startling everyone, sending shivers through the room. Then it struck me, what if my stepmom was at the center of these secrets? What if she had known all along what my dad was hiding? I looked over at her, her facade now cracked, and my heart raced. Gathering all the courage I could muster, I asked, "What do you know about this meeting?" My voice trembled, sounding stronger than I felt. Her eyes darted, the mask of calm shattered by fear. "I don't know anything, Emma. Please, you have to believe me." The whine in her voice felt rehearsed, like a last desperate move in a game of chess. "Let us wrap this up, shall we?" The attorney interjected, his voice sharp. "The meeting is arranged for Saturday morning, and I must stress the urgency with which you should all attend. You might uncover truths that change everything. You may even discover the reality of your father's love." As the room erupted into whispers again, I felt inherently drawn to the idea of that meeting. This wasn't just about money. It was about truth, loyalty, and perhaps revenge. Would I finally cut through the web of confusion? With a determined breath, I whispered to myself, "I will find out what he meant. I will uncover the truth." And as I sat there, the weight of my fears mixed with a flicker of hope, I couldn't shake the feeling that nothing would ever be the same again. Yet as we all left the somber room, another thought nagged at me. Was there more at stake than I realized? What if this final meeting wasn't about closure, but about retribution? In the shadows of my heart, I feared the worst was yet to come, and that the truth would come at a price I wasn't ready to pay. The storm outside intensified, rain pattering against the windows like the frantic heartbeat of the family gathered in my father's dimly lit study. Each face revealed a tangled web of concern and longing, their whispered conversations swirling around me. Guilt seeped into my bones like the dampness in the air. I felt as if the shadows themselves were leering at me, daring me to uncover whatever lay beneath. That I turned on my heel and left the room, needing space to think, to breathe. The hallway seemed endless, adorned with family photos, smiling faces that felt foreign to me now. With every step, the unease clawed higher into my throat. What kind of legacy had my father really left? And more importantly, what did my stepmother have to do with it? I paused in front of a large painting of my dad. He stood confidently, his arms crossed, a smirk playing at the edge of his lips. It made my skin crawl. Did he know the trouble he was leaving behind? Did he intend for this chaos to erupt after his death? The anger rose in me like a wildfire, consuming any remaining affection I felt for him. Suddenly, a soft voice broke through my spiraling thoughts. "Emma," it was Janet, my stepmother, standing at the foot of the stairs with a frown plastered across her face. "I need to talk to you." I crossed my arms, bracing myself against her plea. "There's nothing to discuss. You've been keeping secrets, and I want to know why." Her eyes widened, the vulnerability evident, as if the truth hung suspended between us, waiting to be released. "I promise, I didn't want this. Your father, he was complicated. You have to understand, he loved you, loved me." I interrupted, bitterness dripping from my words. "If he loved me, why would he hide so much?" She took a shaky breath, her gaze dropping to the floor, overwhelmed. "Because he was afraid of what you might think, that it could tear our family apart." "Too late for that." I shot back. Anger surged, a tempest brewing within me. If he had the strength to live with his secrets, I need the strength to expose them. You're not going to stand in my way. Emma, she reached out, her eyes shimmering with unshed tears. Please, you need to prepare yourself for what's coming. Not everything is as it seems. Then tell me. What's coming? My voice carried a fierce edge, a desperate plea for clarity amidst the fog of chaos. Suddenly, she stepped closer, her voice lowered to a mere whisper. You're not alone in this. You have allies who want to protect you, and there are threats you don't even know about. The meeting on Saturday isn't just about a will, it's about revealing not only the truth but drawing battle lines. An icy dread washed over me. I had believed the meeting would answer my questions, but instead, it might ignite a conflict I wasn't prepared for. Just as I was about to speak, a deafening crack of thunder rolled through the air, mirroring the turmoil brewing inside. Panic surged through me. Was she trying to warn me, or was this all a ploy? Emma, please trust me, she pleaded again. Trust. It was a fading memory like the photographs on the wall. You've lost my trust. Nothing can change that. I pushed past her, back down the hallway, my heart racing. There had to be answers waiting somewhere. I would dig them out, even if it meant digging through my father's carefully laid plans, but the weight of it all hung over me. What price would I pay for the truth? As I flung open the door to the garden, facing the storm, I realized in that moment the meeting was just the beginning. The battle for my father's legacy, and my own security, was looming ever closer. Little did I know, a dangerous web was already tightening around me, and betrayal might come from the very people I trusted most. What revelation awaited me in the shadows, and who would be left standing when the dust settled? The wind howled like a living creature, lashing raindrops against my skin as I stood frozen in the garden. The darkened sky throbbed with electricity, mirroring the tumult within me. I could feel my heart pounding in time with the chaotic storm, each drop of rain feeling like a weight on my conscience. What could Janet possibly mean? Allies? Threats? My mind raced, tangled in a web of intrigue and anxiety. I had thought this was just about my father's will, yet her ominous words hinted at a far deeper conspiracy. Distant laughter echoed from the house, a stark contrast to the storm's fury outside. My family was gathered, clinging to the false comfort of shared grief while suppressing the very secrets that threatened to shatter our fragile unity. I turned away from the tempest, the safe confines of the study calling me back. I needed answers. As I stepped inside, the air was thick and oppressive, as if the very walls were bearing witness to our collective guilt. Shadows danced across the faces of family members. I flicked my gaze around the room, searching for answers, but found only anxious expressions. Emma, called out Uncle Mike, his brow furrowed deep in concentration, are you all right? I couldn't lie. Not really, I admitted, my voice tight. The intensity of everything, my father's death, the secret squeezed my chest, threatening to choke me. Let us focus on the meeting tomorrow. It's important, he said gently, but his words fell like brittle leaves in the wind. I wanted to scream, to demand clarity. Important? I echoed. Important for who? You, or for us? You all seem so determined to just move forward. My words landed like a grenade, shattering the fragile atmosphere. Gasps filled the air as my family shifted uncomfortably. The tension coiled tighter, as if we were all a part of the same intricate game, our parts already assigned without our consent. Emma, please, my older sister Rachel interjected, eyeing me warily. This isn't the time for accusations. We're all hurting right now. Hurting? I spat back, the disbelief rising like bile in my throat. How can you say that? What about the legacy he left us? What secrets did he hide that led to all this? I felt the walls close in, trapping me with my frustration. Just then, the door creaked open, and a figure stepped into the dim light. Janet. Her face was pale, the storm's reflection mirrored in her eyes. I overheard you, Emma, she said, her voice steady. It's time for you to know the truth. The room fell silent as every eye turned toward her, and I felt the heat of being under scrutiny. What truth, Janet? The truth you've decided to keep from me all this time? My voice dripped with venom. With a deep breath, she stepped further inside. Your father was involved in something much larger than you think. His legacy isn't just financial, there are connections that span beyond our understanding. The meeting is a shaking of foundations, and there are those who would stop at nothing to get what they want. The sensation of raw fear flared in my chest. What are you talking about? Who are these people? Just then, another roar of thunder shook the house, and it felt like a warning shot, a reminder that the storm outside matched the growing unrest brewing within. She hesitated, glancing fleetingly at the others. I can't say too much now, but trust me, Emma. Tomorrow will change everything. Be prepared for anything. The room thickened with tension. I stood there, grappling with her words. What had my father been a part of? A sense of unease tightened my stomach. I had it in me to uncover the truth, but at what cost? Everything is about to unravel, I mumbled, as a chilling realization emerged. Suddenly, I noticed my uncle slipping out before I could stop him, his eyes darting back like a frightened animal. I wasn't the only one who felt the knife edge of tension. But what other secrets lay buried beneath this family facade? I had to find out, but that knowledge could cost me more than I was willing to pay. Tomorrow would be the echo of thunder demanding we face not just our past, but our future. The question loomed, would we rise from the ashes, or be consumed by the storm? The sun barely broke through the thick clouds as morning crept in, casting a strange glow over the estate. An uneasy silence settled in, too palpable to ignore. I barely slept, tossing and turning under the weight of Janet's revelation. The looming will reading felt like an executioner's axe hanging precariously above my head. I dressed mechanically, the clothes feeling foreign against my skin. I looked into the mirror, barely recognizing the person staring back. My eyes were bloodshot and weary, yet underneath that fatigue simmered a fierce determination. Whatever lay ahead, I would face it. The family gathered in the parlor, their faces cast in shadows. The air was thick with unspoken words, emotions hovering just below the surface. A distant clock ticked, dragging time like molasses. I could hear the faint rustle of papers my father's was stealing the last remnants of comfort. Everyone's here, Uncle Mike said, his voice wavering. He seemed older, worn down by the implications of what was about to unfold. Shall we begin? Rachel shot me an anxious glance, her tight-lipped expression telling me she wasn't ready for this chaos. I felt a jolt of panic surge. Wait, I interrupted, gripping the edge of the table. Before we start, can we at least acknowledge what happened last night? What Janet said. Gasps echoed around the room, eyes widening in disbelief. What are you talking about? Rachel hissed, her voice barely contained. I'm talking about our father's secrets, I snapped, my heart racing. The connections that could change everything, and the danger that might come with them. I locked eyes with Janet, whose face remained inscrutable, a mask I couldn't read. We shouldn't, Uncle Mike started, but I couldn't let him finish. This was my moment to bring the truth to light. And why shouldn't we? Because it'll expose the lies you've all been hiding? I couldn't hold back anymore. You think I'm overstating it? I saw how hurried you were to dismiss Janet's warning. Rachel's expression twisted with confusion and fear. She shot a pleading look at our uncle, who merely nodded solemnly, a sign of resignation rather than agreement. Before I could continue, the door swung open, revealing an imposing figure, Mr. Carson, our father's lawyer. His sharp features cut through the thick tension like a knife. He held a small leather portfolio tightly, his complexion serious. I've come to read the will, he said, his voice a mixture of authority and trepidation. Excitement sparked among the family, but it felt hollow. They were eager to claim what they believed was theirs, completely blind to the chasms forming beneath the surface. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Carson continued, his gaze sweeping across the room with a careful precision. We'll get to the contents immediately. Every breath felt like a volley as he carefully opened the portfolio. I braced for the inevitable, my heart pounding like a war drum. With the death of William Thompson, he began, and I barely heard the rest of his words through the pounding in my ears. The distribution of his assets shall be duly noted, but mid-sentence, His voice dropped as his eyes flickered to me, a momentary slip, like a crack in an armor I could exploit. And to Emma Thompson, I bequeath. I leaned in, holding my breath, adrenaline coursing through me. Whatever came next could redefine everything: my family, my future, the very legacy my father had left behind. Suddenly, the lights flickered ominously, plunging us into momentary darkness. Gasps filled the room as the air grew tense. I could feel my pulse in my throat. What secrets lay hidden within my father's final words? And what would it cost to unravel them? As the lights flickered back on, I knew nothing would ever be the same again. The storm's echo in my heart mirrored the brewing chaos. Mr. Carson's next words hung in the air, heavy with consequence. And thus, the shares of Thompson Holdings shall go not to the existing heirs but to a person still undisclosed. Suddenly, it felt like the walls were closing in. Who was this mysterious beneficiary? I wasn't prepared for what would be revealed next. The room buzzed with disbelief, a palpable electric current surging as everyone exchanged frantic glances. I could barely process what Mr. Carson had just said. A person still undisclosed? The words echoed in my mind like a death knell. What do you mean, undisclosed? Rachel's voice trembled as she shot up from her chair. Her face was a mix of rage and confusion, like a storm ready to burst. Are you saying there's someone else? Everyone, please, Mr. Carson interjected, his voice firm. The will specifies that identities will be revealed after further review. Oh, come on. This is absurd. Uncle Mike shouted, slamming his palm on the table, making papers flutter. We deserve to know who this person is. The parlor shifted. Tension thickened like fog, pressing against our chests. I could see emotions swirling in everyone's eyes: fear, anger, greed. It clawed at me, making my stomach twist into knots. Maybe it's a mistake, I said, desperate to cling to anything but this shadow of doubt looming over me. Our father wouldn't just cut us out like that. There has to be a reason. A terrifying silence fell. The only sound was the clock ticking, each moment heavier than the last. I glanced at Janet, her expression unreadable. For the first time, I saw a flicker of something in her eyes, a hint of worry mixed with defiance. Had she known about this? I think we all know that your father was not himself at the end, Uncle Mike said, stepping closer to me, his voice low and edged. He made choices that none of us can fathom. And there were secrets, Janet said suddenly, her voice rising above the tension. Things your father left unspoken. Secrets? I asked, feeling a drop in my gut. What do you know? Her face hardened, as if she were battling an unseen force inside. Only that there may have been someone your father knew, someone tied to the past. Enough. Mr. Carson snapped, drawing all of our gazes back to him. Regardless, the will stands. Any further discussion about identities will be handled legally. But we can't just sit here, Rachel gasped, her breath quickening. If there's a chance we have lost everything, we need to fight. Just then, we heard a soft thud, like a whisper in the chaos. The lights flickered again, and in the darkness, I could almost feel the eyes of the house watching us. Suddenly, one of the family portraits fell off the wall, smashing to the floor in a cascade of wood and glass. Great. Now even the house is against us, Uncle Mike muttered, a strained laugh escaping him. But no one laughed back. It was as if the very walls had absorbed the atmosphere of betrayal seeping out of us. Enough. I yelled, desperation fueling my voice. What are we waiting for? We have to find out who's behind this. My heart raced with a mix of fear and determination. We can't let this continue. Not without a fight. Just as I finished speaking, my phone buzzed violently in my pocket. I pulled it out and saw an unrecognized number flashing on the screen. My heart sank. Who is it? Rachel asked, her earlier resolve replaced with trepidation. I don't know. It could be. Before I could finish, the line went dead. The air shifted again, but this time it felt foreboding. What is it? Janet asked, her tone sharper than before, eyes narrowing at the phone. I don't know. But something tells me it's not good. I need to find out. Before I could make another move, the door banged open, and a figure emerged from the shadows, cloaked in uncertainty. The sight pulled us all into an anxious stillness. "Emma," they called out, voice familiar yet twisted by time. My breath caught in my throat as recognition flooded my senses. Had no idea what they were about to reveal, who they were and how they fit into this web of secrets. But I was certain of one thing: they held the key to the mysteries entwined in my father's will. What hidden truths lay buried beneath family bonds? And was I ready to face whatever darkness awaited? My heart raced, a drum pounding in my chest as the figure stepped into the light. I squinted, trying to make sense of the blurry contours that emerged. It was a face etched with lines of worry and regret, but it was undeniably familiar. "Brian?" I whispered, disbelief clawing at my throat. Brian, my older brother, had vanished years ago, swallowed by the chaos of life and choices that took him far from this place. My stomach twisted painfully at the sight of him. Had he returned for whatever storm was brewing among us, or was he somehow connected to the strange claim in my father's will? "Emma, please." His voice broke the silence, trembling with urgency. "You need to listen to me." Before I could respond, Uncle Mike stepped forward, eyes tight with accusation. "You have a lot of nerve showing up here now, Brian. After all these years, what do you want?" "Enough," I barked, anger flaring in my chest. "This isn't helping." I turned back to Brian, desperately seeking understanding. "What do you know about the will? About this undisclosed person?" He shook his head, that familiar look of sorrow clouding his features. "I didn't come to stir the pot, Emma. I came because I found something out. Your dad, he was in trouble. Serious trouble." The word sent a chill up my spine. "What kind of trouble?" "Please just let me explain," he pleaded, desperation evident in his eyes. When I heard he'd passed, I went through some of his old things. I thought I could find a clue, a way to connect with him again. Instead, I found something else. "What did you find?" Rachel pressed, stepping closer, her earlier bravado evaporating into a pile of confusion and concern. "A letter," Brian said, each word heavier than the last. "A letter meant for you, Emma. He wrote about a woman, someone who changed everything. Your father wanted to keep it all secret. It's tied to the other person in the will." The room seemed to tilt, the air thick with tension. "A woman?" I gasped. "What woman?" Brian hesitated, the weight of his revelation settling around us like a thick fog. "I don't know for sure. But I think she was involved in something dangerous, something that could expose our family." "Dangerous?" Uncle Mike scoffed. "This is ridiculous. If there was anything to worry about, we would have known." "Maybe that was the point," Brian snapped back, his frustration rising. "Maybe he tried to protect you all by keeping it a secret." A million questions swirled around my head. "And now I'm just supposed to believe you? After all this time?" "I didn't ask you to believe me," he said softly. "I just want to help. I can take you to where I found the letter. But it isn't just a piece of paper. It holds the truth about what happened and the secrets this family is hiding." The clock ticked ominously in the background, each second stretching longer as I weighed my options. My heart urged me to trust him, but a whisper of doubt clawed at my mind. "Let us go," I finally said, surprising even myself. "If it leads to answers, then I need to know." As we moved toward the door, Janet grabbed my arm. "Be careful, Emma. We don't know what this could unleash." Her warning pulsed through me, a reminder of the darkness looming just beyond our threshold. Could this letter truly explain the secrets engulfing us? With Brian leading the way, I stepped into the unknown, a shiver running down my spine. Whatever awaited us, I knew the shadows of truth were closing in. As we reached the outside, the world seemed to hold its breath. A deep part of me felt that we were on the brink of something profound, yet potentially devastating. What other secrets lay in the shadows? And if I uncovered them, would I still recognize my own family? The gravel crunched beneath our feet as we followed Brian into the night, a creeping sense of dread intertwining with every heartbeat. The air was heavy, the lingering scent of impending rain mixed with tension. As Brian led us down the dimly lit path, I could scarcely remember the last time I felt such a mix of anticipation and fear. Are we really doing this? Rachel whispered, her voice a frail thread amidst the trees. I glanced at her, seeing her pale face reflecting the same mix of emotions I felt. We had barely stepped into the dark, and the assurance I sought was slipping just as quickly as the warmth of my home behind us. Just keep moving, I whispered back, forcing strength into my voice. Brian paused, looking over his shoulder. His eyes glimmered with a hint of something. Was it hope, or was it fear? I couldn't tell. As we approached an old shed tucked away in the back of our property, the structure loomed tall and ominous, silhouetted against the clouded sky. The paint peeled like dried skin. Memories I'd all but forgotten flared into my mind, childhood adventures, ghost stories whispered between siblings about the things that could be hiding in the dark corners. This is where I found the letter, Brian said, urgency lining his tone. He stepped up to the door, fingers trembling as he reached for the rusty handle. The metal felt cold against his skin. Are you sure about this? Uncle Mike piped up from a few steps back, arms crossed tightly, skepticism stamped across his face. You don't know what you're opening up. Neither do you, Brian shot back, and I couldn't ignore the flicker of desperation in their standoff. But if we can uncover the truth, we have to try. With a deep breath, Brian yanked the door open. The hinges groaned in protest, echoing into the stillness of the night. Inside, darkness enveloped us like a shroud. Light, I muttered, suddenly aware of the fear clinging to my throat. I fumbled for my phone, its screen flickering to life as I illuminated the cramped space. Dust motes danced in the beam, revealing old boxes piled haphazardly and forgotten trinkets buried beneath years of neglect. There has to be something here, Brian murmured, scanning the clutter for the letter. He began rifling through boxes while I held the phone, my heart beating louder than my thoughts. What are we even looking for? Rachel asked, her voice trembling as she took a step closer to me. What if it isn't what we expect? Expectations don't matter right now. We need the truth, no matter how painful, I replied, trying to project a calm I didn't feel. Brian's hands suddenly shot out, clutching a worn envelope that appeared as if it had been there for ages. He held it up triumphantly, eyes glinting with determination. This is it. This is what we need. In that moment, the air changed. A sudden gust of wind rattled the shed, sending a chill up my spine. I instinctively stepped back, heart hammering. What was that? Just the wind, Uncle Mike said dismissively, though the look in his eyes suggested otherwise. As Brian tore the envelope open, the tension was electric. Each crinkle of paper seemed like a countdown to something colossal. With a shaky breath, he unfolded the letter. What does it say? I urged, but before he could say a word, the light flickered ominously, then went out. Damn it! Brian shouted, panic surging through him. The flashlight must be blown a fuse. In the disorienting darkness, I could hear frantic breaths and whispers, the shadows seeming to close in tighter around us. Don't panic. We'll just turn on our phones, I said, my voice steady for their sake, but I could feel my pulse racing faster than ever. Emma, Rachel whispered. Something's wrong. As light broke through once more, illuminating Brian's ashen face, my stomach dropped. The letter slipped from his grasp, fluttering to the ground like a wounded bird. It can't be. No, Brian stammered, eyes wide with disbelief. What? What does it say? I pressed, dread pooling in the pit of my stomach. Before he could respond, a loud crash echoed outside, making us all jump. Get back! Uncle Mike shouted, instinctively stepping in front of us. The door swung open, and a figure stood silhouetted against the dim moonlight. I could barely make out their features, but something was unmistakably wrong, something that made my skin crawl. Who are you? I breathed, heart racing with fear. The figure stepped forward, revealing a face I never thought I'd see again, the missing piece of this entire nightmare. "I've been waiting for you, Emma," the stranger said, voice chillingly familiar. And in that moment, I realized this night was far from over. A storm was brewing, and the darkest secrets had only just begun to unfurl. Time hung thick in the air, heavy with a tension that was almost palpable. I couldn't shake off the icy dread pooling in my stomach as the figure took a step forward, moonlight revealing a face twisted between familiarity and terror. It was my brother, Jake, a ghost I had never let myself fully mourn. "Jake?" I breathed, disbelief tightening my throat. "Is it really you?" He nodded slowly, eyes glinting with a mix of sorrow and determination. "I'm sorry, Emma. I didn't want you to find out this way." "Find out what?" I shot back, desperation clawing wildly within. "What is going on? Where have you been?" Brian, still clutching the envelope, seemed frozen. Uncle Mike stood tight-lipped, his face betraying a storm of emotions. Rachel stepped closer, fear evident in her wide eyes. "How is this possible?" she whispered, voice trembling. "I wish I could explain," Jake said, stepping further into the shed's dim interior. "But there's no time. They're coming suddenly." Another loud noise from outside interrupted him. My heart raced as I felt the hair on my neck stand on end. The darkness seemed alive with menace, like a predator lurking just beyond the threshold. "Who is coming?" I pressed, trying to keep my voice steady. "They know I'm here. They'll do anything to silence me," he replied, urgency knotting his brow. "You don't understand, Emma. There's a reason I stayed away, a reason I had to go." Before I could respond, the power flickered again, one bright flash followed by an unholy darkness that swallowed us whole. The silence was deafening, the weight of secrets pressing down like a suffocating blanket. "I can't see." Rachel gasped, a small whimper making its way out. "Stay close to me," I urged, reaching for my phone again, the screen flickering to life, illuminating the fear etched on everyone's faces. Brian's voice broke through the desperation, trembling with rage as he hissed, "What the hell is going on, Jake?" "I didn't want to let you in on this, but I had to come back," Jake replied, his voice raw. "Dad's will is much more than just a piece of paper." It holds. Before he could finish, a loud crash echoed again, the door of the shed rattling violently as though something huge was trying to get in. I felt my heart plunge into my stomach. "Let us get out of here," Brian yelled, moving toward the door, his instincts kicking in. Uncle Mike hesitated, still caught between defiance and fear. "Don't open it." Jake's voice came out as a desperate shout. "They're looking for me." "What do you mean, who?" I demanded, swinging my light toward him, the beam shaking from my trembling hands. "The people who know about the will," he shouted back. "The truth about Dad, about us. You have to trust me." I could feel dread coiling tight in my chest. Was this all connected? The letter? Jake's disappearance? I thought I was ready to uncover secrets, but now? Suddenly, there was another thud against the door. Uncle Mike cursed, planting himself firmly before me and Rachel. "We can't just stay here. We have to find a way out." "Wait!" I called out, my voice cutting through the chaos. "Jake, what truth?" But just then, a shadow lurked outside the cracked door, illuminated fleetingly by the moonlight. Another figure stood there, just behind the first. My heart thundered in my ears as a chill washed over me. A sharp knock echoed, sending tremors through my body. "Give him to us, Jake. We know you're in there." A voice thundered, cold and dark. My mind reeled. What have we gotten ourselves into? What truth could possibly be worth all this? With every ounce of strength I had, I whispered to my brother, "Tell me the truth now, before they get in." And as the door trembled under relentless pounding, I realized we were on the brink of something far more dangerous than we could have imagined. The darkness would not give up its secrets without a fight. The pounding on the shed door grew frantic, like a heartbeat racing in tandem with my own. Jake's eyes shone with desperation, a storm brewing behind them. "You need to listen to me," he pressed, urgency coloring every word. He stepped closer, his figure silhouetted by the dim phone light. "I never wanted to come back," he continued. "But the truth was too big to ignore. Dad's will wasn't just about the money, it was about protecting you and keeping the dark parts of our family hidden." "Jake!" Brian shouted. "Enough with the riddles. What are you talking about?" "I found something after he died," Jake said, glancing nervously toward the door, which groaned ominously. "A ledger, names and numbers that point to something dangerous. People who are tied to our family in ways we didn't know. These people will stop at nothing to keep those secrets buried." The pounding escalated, fueled by a growing impatience outside. The force rattled the wood beneath us, and I felt my breath quicken. "What names? Who are they?" I demanded, feeling both enraged and petrified at the thought of dangers hiding just out of sight. The label called them business partners, but that's too simple. They were involved in all kinds of illicit trades, things you wouldn't believe, Jake whispered fiercely, urgency edging his voice. Dad was scared. He wrote the will to shield us, to keep this from spiraling out of control. But now the resolve in my heart wavered. Did my father truly believe that keeping such distance from this chaos would protect us? Visions of rage and confusion surged through my mind, colliding with loyalty and fear. A chilling realization dawned: my connection to my brother and this legacy could be the very thing these people sought to take from us. Suddenly, another shadow loomed at the door. "We know you're in there, Jake. Let us end this." The voice barked. "Go," Jake urged, his tone frantic. "You have to leave now." "What?" "No," I shouted back. "I want to leave you." The door shuddered violently as something heavy slammed into it again, sending shivers through my body. "Please, Emma. I can't protect you if you're here. Go now." Panic flooded his gaze that in a heartbeat, my blood turned to ice. The urge to flee warred with the loyalty I felt toward my brother. "We can't abandon each other," I breathed. Brian nodded, surprisingly resolute, glancing at the door with determination. "I don't care what sort of danger it is. We stick together, always." Just as Jake's tension mounted, I sprang into action. A mix of fear and determination rushed through me. "We need to cut through the back. There's a window," I shouted, my heart racing as I turned to the far side of the shed. "Emma, no," Jake called out, fear coursing through his voice. But I was already pushing furniture aside. We had no time. The rumble of footsteps approached. "What are you doing?" Rachel shouted, her panic spiking. I could see Brian edging closer, ready to help me break through the barrier to freedom. That I flung the last box aside and grasped the window frame, pushing it open. The night air rushed in, cool and sharp against my sweaty skin. I turned to them, urgency flashing in my eyes. "We can't wait. They'll find us here." With one smooth motion, I jumped out, gasping slightly as I hit the damp ground outside. "Come on," I hissed, glancing back. I could see Brian's form looming in the doorway, hesitation dancing across his features. "There's not much time." Brian shot forward, grabbing Rachel's hand. They hopped out, the three of us stumbling back into the thicket of trees, our breaths ragged and quick. Jake remained inside for a moment longer, gripping the edges of the door. "Get to the house. I'll be right behind you," he shouted, urgency blending with desire to protect us. The door rattled again, the timing growing impossibly close. "No. We can't leave you," I shouted, my heart heavy. "Go, Emma. Now." Jake's voice sliced through the night, raw and centered with urgency, but it wasn't just fear behind it. I could see pain in his eyes. There was reverence in what he needed to do. The remaining seconds felt like lifetimes. With one last push, I took Rachel's hand and raced away from the shed, Brian close at our heels. The dark woods enveloped us, a stark contrast to the chaos and awaits in the clearing. Rain began to sprinkle, soft but insistent like the memories flooding my heart. As we stumbled through the trees, urgency gripped my chest. What do we do? Rachel gasped, looking back toward the shed as we breathed in the thick air. We run, was Brian's only response, his resolve born from fear but forged in determination. Get to the house and hide, I breathed. That's our best chance. We'll figure out what to do next once we're safe. The sound of a far-off explosion vibrated through the air, addressing an unspoken dread within. But as I rushed past familiar old trees, a sense of hope ignited within me. Whatever lay ahead, we would face it together. Leaving fear behind us, together. And as I glanced back toward the darkness, Jake's silhouette at the door, standing against a tide I didn't fully understand, I whispered a promise to the night. I will find you, I swear. The storm of secrets still loomed behind us, but with each step, it felt more like a challenge waiting to unfold. We would not be shrouded in darkness. I would uncover the truth, no matter what it took. Now, we were in this fight together. This, my family, my legacy, whatever the cost. The final battle had only just begun. So, as we rushed to the house, every heartbeat declared our commitment. It was time to stand up. To confront the demons that lay ahead. Because embracing the truth, the light and the dark was the only way we would ever find our way back home. Now I want to hear from you. What's your reaction to this incredible conclusion? Share your thoughts and theories in the comments below. And remember, you need to subscribe immediately so you don't miss out on more exclusive stories just like this one. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and help our family grow. And share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this shocking conclusion. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait even one more second.